Hello, litigators and opinionators. Court is now in session. Y'all already know we've been talking about this case with this little 6-year-old kid who, guys, surprisingly enough, shot his teacher, his first grade teacher, man. This little menace to society, okay? So we talked about in the last two videos that I talked about that we think, or I personally think, that Abigail should sue because she warned the administrators, people involved, superintendent, everybody about the dangers of this kid. There was other teachers warning about the dangers of this kid. Even the very day that this happened, y'all, there was a little child on the playground. And this boy here on the picture, allegedly, he showed the boy on the playground the gun and said, if you tell anybody, I'm going to shoot you. That's new information that came out, allegedly, okay? And that little kid allegedly went and told his teacher about the incident, and that teacher reported it to the administrators. And yet nothing happened. They did nothing. They minimized it. Well, y'all, justice is about to come. I am so proud of Abigail Warner. She has since retained an attorney, y'all. And her attorney has talked of plans to sue. Now, one thing you need to understand, y'all, is there is a term called sovereign immunity. And when an individual wants to sue the government, they have to jump through a bunch of loopholes first. That is why you're not seeing this lawsuit already formulated and already filed and everything like that. It's not filed because they have to go through certain loopholes before they can actually file a lawsuit. They have to send notice to the government, and there's usually a waiting period. It depends on what state it is. Some states, there's a 180-day waiting period. I don't know how long it is in Virginia, y'all, but that's why she hasn't filed it yet. But her attorney has already started the process of notifying the government of their intent. So during this waiting period, the whole incentive is for the government to try to see if they can settle the case outside of a lawsuit. So they may, during this time of negotiations, they may just pitch a number to her, and if her attorney agrees to that number, that's the best route for the government to get this settled, y'all. Because if they do not, and she takes this to trial, a jury is more than likely going to find an insurmountable amount of punitive damages on her behalf because of, if she can prove, because of the alleged warnings, the numerous volumes of warnings that her and other teachers, students, everybody, parents who reported this kid. So I'm really happy to hear that she retained an attorney and she intends to sue. But let me tell you a little bit about what sovereign immunity is, because this is something that is applicable to this type of situation. And we're also going to learn a little bit more about Abigail and hear from her attorney a little later too. But let me tell you about sovereign immunity because it relates to when you sue a government entity in America, okay? Sovereign immunity is the legal doctrine providing that the government cannot be sued without its consent. In the United States, sovereign immunity typically applies to the federal government and state government, but not in most cases to local governments. However, both the federal and state governments can waive their sovereign immunity. It's important to note that the state governments are not immune from lawsuits brought against them by other states or by federal government. So that's an important thing to know because she will be basically suing the government. So that aspect is involved, which is why you haven't seen the quick lawsuit just forming fast and right there. But guys, there was something more beautiful about this young lady. Man, guys, Abigail has a beautiful heart. What makes Abigail, I just adore this girl. I don't even know her, but the more I learn about her, I just can't help but to adore her heart. She has an immaculate, massive heart just of her love for people. But I was looking through her Facebook and I found this post that she did several years ago. And I have to read it to you guys because you guys have to really realize how incredible this young lady is. And then we'll get into what her attorney's talking about because she brought some tea up. Also some other tea, y'all. You know that superintendent we talked about the other day? He got fired, y'all. The one that was lacking and slacking when she tried to warn about this boy, he got fired. He's gone without cause too. But let's read this, guys. I got to read this to you. She is such a sweet soul. I just adore her. I want all the good to happen for this girl. I want her to get justice. Well, first of all, let's look at some pictures, y'all, because the girl is absolutely stunning. I'm done with her. She's too stunning, okay? We'll look at these pictures before we get, but here's some pictures of beautiful Abigail. She's not just beautiful on the outside, y'all. This girl is beautiful on the inside. Her inner beauty to me just shines through. I couldn't think of a better teacher. I wish I had a teacher like her growing up. Okay. But here's just the little doll, Abigail there. You know, it's one cool thing I told you about her. She does have, this is her graduation picture from 2019. Another graduation picture. She graduated 2019. Very accomplished. That's her twin sister too. She has a twin. Isn't that cool? So there's her with her twin. They're not, I don't think they're, see, look, because that's Hannah Swerner. See? Her twin sister there. That's her twin. She's a brunette. Her sister's a brunette. So I don't think they're identical twins. Of course they're not. They don't look like identical twins. She's a Greek too. She's in a sorority. She is in Delta Gamma. Pretty cool. Okay. So that's, yeah, there she is, Delta Gamma. That is her sorority. That's cool. I wouldn't be surprised she is in a Delta Gamma, because she's stunning. And you know, a lot of sorority girls, they're always just absolutely stunning. But anyways, moving on. Just wanted you guys to see that lovely soul of hers. She's beautiful inside and out. But there was this one post on her Facebook. I was like, oh, the next time I talk about her story, I got to read this, because she's so, what I love about her is she doesn't see color. She just sees. She has a heart for equality for all people, okay? Now, I'm going to warn you guys. I'm not a political channel. So I'm not saying I agree with any side of politics. I'm an independent. So just because I'm talking about what she said about a certain political leader, it doesn't mean I share, you know, whatever views. I'm not neither a Democrat or a Republican. I am an independent. So I just got to get that out the way, because people always be thinking I'm trying to judge whatever side. No, I'm an independent, so leave me alone. Anyway, so this is what she wrote on her Facebook, guys. I don't focus on the political leader she's talking about. Just focus on her message, her overall message. But she wrote this November 9th, 2016. She said, so for my elementary education major, I'm volunteering this semester at an elementary after school program in Harrisonburg. Most of the children who attend are minorities in the school, in their schools, with intellectual disabilities and low incomes. So that right there, that first sentence there tells me that she's used to being around minority children and children that are low income and that have some type of disability. Well, we know the 6-year-old that was in her class definitely had a disability. He was dealing with some type of chronic mental health issue. So she's used to that type of behavior. This was back in 2016. It's nothing new to her. But she says, while I and a few other volunteers were outside making sure the children got inside the building from the bus, a young African-American 3rd grade girl stopped in front of us and said, I hate Trump because he hates people like me, and continued to walk inside with her head down. I was speechless and felt my heart literally dropped. This girl is too young to even feel racism and hate, let alone having this feeling of racism and hate coming from our newly elected president. I cannot begin to fathom what her and her family are thinking and going through at home, their jobs, and her classes at school. Every person, let alone a child, should not be in the position to feel threatened, to feel unwanted because of what they have heard and seen Trump do. My heart breaks not only for this helpless child, but for everyone else Trump has disregarded, pushed aside, made fun of, put down, and laughed at. What happened to the people of America? I was luckily and happily raised to know that every person is equal, regardless of their cultural background, their religion, their sexuality, their color of skin, their education. Every person has the chance to be treated the same as everyone else. This is not a leader for America's presidency. This is not a leader for America's presidency, nor a leader at all. this to me tells me this is a young lady that doesn't have hate in her heart for any person just because of the color of their skin. She loves all people. She is all about empowering equality, equal justice, equal acceptance. So she's used to being around minorities. So I had to get that out the way because people might have just tried to shame this girl or lie or make up false rumors about her. When you could just look at her Facebook and see that she is just so all about inclusivity and acceptance and love, which would, to me, make her a perfect teacher for this child here who is struggling with disability issues, mental health issues. He probably comes from the lower socioeconomic background. That's my opinion. I'm thinking that he comes from that kind of background. And she has the heart for these type of kids. So I don't in no way think it's her fault. I'm getting kind of irritated with people trying to say that. But that's what I wanted to get out from her Facebook. Now let's talk about what's going on now, y'all. There appears to be a lawsuit coming in. Her attorney is coming out with all the works, okay? Already giving warning that is her intention, y'all. Okay, so let's watch some of these videos that's going to shed light on that.
Teacher who was shot by her 6-year-old student tonight, arguing the school was warned 3 times on that very day that the boy could have a gun and that he was making threats. Her lawyer tonight now revealing a chilling timeline here, also revealing the teacher still has that bullet lodged in her chest. Here's our Chief Justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas, tonight.
2 weeks after she was shot by her 6-year-old student in an attack that stunned the nation, teacher Abby Werner is breaking her silence. Her attorney accusing the school of failing to stop the violence despite multiple warnings the boy was dangerous.
3 times, school administration was warned by concerned teachers and employees that the boy had a gun on him at the school, but the administration could not be bothered.
That lawyer laying out a string of red flags that day, saying it was Werner who first reported that the boy had threatened to beat up another child.
They didn't call.
Right, you already see this attorney. Once you see this attorney coming out like this, doing a press conference, talking about 3 times and the fact that he threatened to beat up a boy at the school, that's already a forewarning to you that they're getting prepared to file a lawsuit. But again, because they're going to be suing the government, it's going to take some time for them to be able to do that because they have to jump through a lot of loopholes before they get to that final stage. And I don't even know if this case is really going to get to a lawsuit if the government decides to settle with them. That's probably the better approach for them, because if this case goes to trial, y'all, and if they have the evidence to prove that 3 times they warned and then the other kid was warning about him being threatened to be beaten up, y'all, the jury is not going to like the government and they're going to give a massive punitive damage, y'all, a massive one, and a massive emotional stress. And did you hear the fact that the bullet is still lodged in Abigail's chest? Can you believe that? The bullet's still in her chest, guys. That's going to be in her chest for the rest of her life. I don't think they can get it out, because if they do, that could be very deadly, I guess, the location of where it landed in her body. I don't think they're going to be able to do the surgery to get it out, because it would probably be a very unsafe, dangerous procedure. So now she's got to live with a bullet in her lodged in her chest, guys. That is so sad, man.
Security, they didn't remove the student from the classroom.
After getting a tip about a gun, another teacher searched the boy's backpack and after getting a tip about a gun, saying it was Werner who first reported that the boy had threatened to beat up another child.
They didn't call security. They didn't remove the student from the classroom.
After getting a tip about a gun, another teacher searched the boy's backpack an hour later, but found nothing. When that same teacher warned the gun could be in a pocket, a school official allegedly dismissed the threat.
Right, and that's a detail that I need to know. So, like I was saying, the teacher herself, the teacher, not the administrator, the teacher went and independently searched this little boy's backpack, right? Search his backpack. They didn't find it in there because he put the gun in his pocket. And then some of the kids said it was. One of the kids saw the gun at recess. The little boy pulled the gun out and showed the little boy the gun during recess and told that little boy that saw the gun that if you tell anybody that I have this gun, I'm gonna shoot you. So the little boy got scared and he went and told his teacher about it. And that teacher in turn tried to tell the administrator, yeah, I didn't find it in his backpack because it's in his pocket. That's what they're saying. And then the administrator dismissed it. They said, oh, his pockets are too little. There's no way it could be in there because his pockets are too small. Allegedly, that's what the allegations are floating around, y'all, that they dismissed it saying, oh, well, there's no way a gun could fit in his pocket. It's too little. But that's where, because we were trying to figure out where the gun was, because when we talked about this tragedy before, we talked about the fact that they searched the backpack and they didn't find it. So we're trying to figure out, well, where was it? Is there another cubby? Well, one of the little kids have come out and spoke and said that the little boy put the gun in his pocket and brought it to recess on the playground, y'all. And too many failures from the administrator to keep dismissing it and not trying to take subsequent steps to really find out if this was true.
The administrator downplayed the report from the teacher and the possibility of a gun, saying, and I quote, well, he has little pockets.
A half hour later, Zwerner's lawyer claims a third teacher reported a student who was crying because the 6-year-old had threatened him with a gun during recess. But again, no action.
Did administrators call the police? No. Did administrators lock down the school? No.
Finally, Zwerner claims another concerned staffer asked to pat down and search the boy, but was denied, told to wait the situation out because the school day was almost over. Minutes later, police say the boy opened fire with the gun he brought.
Oh, no, they didn't. Did you hear that? I got to rewind that. They told her, after she warned, they told her to wait the situation out. The day is almost over. They literally, I feel like they minimize this because he was a little tiny 6-year-old kid. And they just could not wrap their head around the fact that a little kid could pose a danger or have a gun. So they honestly thought that Abigail was over exaggerating. They're like, oh, she being dramatic. She, this didn't happen. What right? That's what they thought. They thought she was being dramatic, that she was over exaggerating. And so they're like, oh, just get over it, wait it out. And by the end of the day, everything will be good and dandy and the day is almost over. How dare they? We got to play that again, y'all. This is too much.
The police say the boy opened fire with the gun he brought from his home. Mark Garcia's 8-year-old son was down the hall and ran. But again, no action. Reported a student who was crying because the 6-year-old had threatened him with the gun during recess. But again, no action.
I didn't even report on this. A third teacher. Okay, so there's 3 different teachers, y'all. This was 3 warnings. A third teacher reported a student crying. A student was traumatized, terrified, literally crying. Can you believe this? After that little boy, this little 6-year-old, this little menace to society right here, he threatened him with a gun during recess. But look, no action, period. That is crazy. If they can prove this, they got a strong case. Okay? That means there's multiple independent witnesses. Let's hear this again, y'all. I can't.
A third teacher reported a student who was crying because the 6-year-old had threatened him with the gun during recess. But again, no action.
Did administrators call the police? No. Did administrators lock down the school? No.
Finally, Zwerner claims another concerned staffer asked to pat down and search the boy, but was denied, told to wait the situation out because the school day was almost over.
This is just so many failures on so many ways. It wasn't just Abigail. This is what's problematic about an extreme failure and gross negligence on the part of the administrator and the staffers, the higher ups. It wasn't just Abigail reporting the dangers of this kid. It was another kid that was traumatized and crying. It was a third teacher, so those 3 different teachers talking about it. It was another independent staffer who requested that they could search the boy's person, not just his backpack, but search his person, because it was confirmed by another child that he had a gun on the playground. But all they said, look at the words they said on the screen: wait the situation out. Are you serious? Because the school day was almost over. What it tells me, guys, is they totally minimized this because he was a 6-year-old little kid. And they thought, it's a little kid. This is unbelievable. I don't think a little 6-year-old kid could ever be a threat of danger to anyone. I'm pretty sure these teachers are being dramatic. Just wait it out, till the kid goes home. I really think that's what they did. And this is going to be a massive lesson to this school district and other school districts down the line, that you can't just minimize warning signs from teachers, administrators, staff who are trying to, and it's not even just one teacher, it was several sources. So this young lady, if she can prove it, she has tons of witnesses that will come in and testify that they're different people try to warn the administrator, the staff, the higher ups, the superiors, and all they did was say, wait the situation out because the school day is almost over. Are you kidding me? Now, Abigail has a whole bullet stuck in her chest for life because of them telling her to wait the situation out. Not enough money can make up for that. This woman's traumatized forever and her body's forever altered with this bullet in her because they told her to wait the situation out because the school day is almost over. This is a gross amount of negligence on more than I've seen from a school district in quite some time. I gotta say.
Minutes later, police say the boy opened fire with the gun he brought from his home. Mark Garcia's 8-year-old son was down the hall and ran for cover. Garcia says parents in the school have long voiced concerns about security.
These are red flags that we raised as parents before, and now we're actually hearing it and understanding that these red flags are actually real.
So there was a bunch of parents voicing concerns for safety too? This seems like a long-term thing that the superintendent just had an ongoing failure to acknowledge. The parents, the teachers, the staffers have been repeatedly, redundantly warning about the dangers of not only this kid, but safety at the school in general, guys. This is unacceptable. And that, to me, you heard from that parent. That might be some type of underlying, evidence that possibly maybe parents might even be suing too. So it might not even be just Abigail suing. You may be seeing some parents suing because they have repeatedly warned of this possibly happening and the dangers and concerns, and if they were constantly ignored. It says teacher plans to sue, alleges officials ignored warnings. Okay, ignored warnings. Sorry, this case frustrates me, y'all.
Parents of the 6-year-old suspect say he suffers from an acute disability and claim the shooting occurred during the first week he attended class without a parent. But tonight, Abby Zawerna remains at home healing. We learned today that bullet is still lodged in her chest.
The road to full recovery will be long. The psychological wounds cut deeply and remain fresh.
And Pierre Thomas with us here tonight. Pierre, we heard from parents worried about school security. We saw them line up to speak at the district's school board meeting. And tonight, I know there's another urgent meeting about the leadership of the school district.
David, tonight there's been an emergency meeting to decide the fate of the superintendent. We've just learned he's been fired. As for the teacher, she's planning to sue the school district. David?
All right, Pierre.
Wow, did y'all hear that update? Superintendent fired, y'all. And that Mr. Superintendent, yeah, he bye-bye, y'all. And Miss Abigail is going to do what we've been praying for her to do, y'all, is sue. Now, I love this video that was done by Law and Crime. They go over some of the stuff during the hearing, but oh my God, they really educate you on the law. they do some analysis on it, and I thought it's really good. So we're going to sit and dissect this video because, y'all, this video is off the hook. I liked how they really dissected it and really broke down more details. So some of it will be redundant, but there's parts where they're actually going to explain the law to you and give you some backgrounds, and we'll talk about that also, guys.
Shot in front of those horrified kids, and the school and community are living the nightmare.
Okay, I'm not sure. I gotta re-share this again, guys. I cannot hear it myself. What is going on? Oh, there's what I did. I think this is it, guys. Let me see. Okay, yeah, it is. It is. Sorry, the sound was not coming up for me, so I had to fix it. Hold on, y'all. Still having issues. What is going on? Hold on, y'all. Let me see if I fixed it now. I'm gonna try this again, y'all. I'm having little sound issues going on here. On my end, not on you guys. I don't know if can you guys hear it? Let me know if you can hear it.
Abby Zorner was shot in front of those horrified kids, and the school and community are living the nightmare. All because the school administration failed to act.
A lawsuit seems to be in the works in the wake of a 6-year-old allegedly shooting a teacher in Virginia. We get into the very latest with criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Kathleen Bogenschutz. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Over now to the latest developments in the case of a 6-year-old who allegedly shot his teacher out in Newport News, Virginia. First grade teacher Abigail and Toscano announced that they intend to file a lawsuit after they claim school administrators failed her client. Toscano said that Warner and other teachers had warned. Attorney and former prosecutor Kathleen Bogenschutz to talk a little bit more about it. Kathleen, it's good to see you. Thanks for coming here on Sidebar.
Good to see you too.
Kathleen, I want to go a little bit through what Ms. Toscano said. First, she said, quote, the Newport News School Board voted, first, let me just tell you this, that in the aftermath of all of this, the Newport News School Board voted to oust the Newport News Public Schools superintendent, George Parker III. They did it without cause.
As they should. That is one of the best news that they got rid of him. Hi, Crystal. Hi, love. Welcome to the chat. Happy Friday. Right. Chi says, I hope she gets a good amount. That's a lot of trauma to be shot. Exactly. And now a bullet lodged in her chest. But first, good news on the docket, y'all. Mr. Superintendent right here on the screen, he was fired without cause because he completely failed this school district with his failure looking self.
And we'll keep that in mind as we go through what Ms. Toscano said. So she said 3 different times school administrators were warned by concerned teachers that the boy had a gun on him at the school and was threatening people, but the administration could not be bothered. What do you think about that?
Sorry, y'all. We dealing with these annoying ads. Hold on.
I actually listened to her press conference, the attorney for this teacher, her press conference earlier today. And if true, I mean, this could be one of our law school examples of gross negligence in the future. I mean, how many people?
Damn, she said one of our law school examples of gross negligence. That means it's really bad when they can teach about what's a pillar example of gross negligence by using this tragedy. Yeah, that's pretty bad, y'all. Okay. So let's hear more from what this the attorney that's representing Abigail had to say.
Released a statement saying our family has always been committed to responsible gun ownership and keeping firearms out of the reach of people.
Now, this statement right here is coming from the little 6-year-old's family. But again, I've talked about this before. I don't think this statement is necessarily the original statement from the family. I think this is written up by their attorney, but that's just my humble opinion. Let's hear what they have to say, talking about our family has always been committed to responsible gun ownership and keeping firearms out of reach of children. The firearm our son accessed was secured. While our son's privacy interests are important, transparency in the matter is a valid community interest. This is a bunch of baloney. It's a lie to me. If it was secure, then we wouldn't be here today. We wouldn't be having this discussion, and Abigail wouldn't have a bullet lodged into her chest. So this whole lie about it being a little accident and this was a secured gun and doop-de-doop-de-doo, it's a lie. Okay, in my humble opinion. Now, again, just a continuation of their little attorney drafted statement. They said, our son suffers from an acute disability and was under a care plan at the school that included his mother or father attending school with him and accompanying him to class every day. The week of the shooting was the first week when we were not in class with him. We will regret our absence on this day for the rest of our lives. Well, how come they weren't abiding by this care plan? This is another evidence of the gross negligence in this case, is that they weren't even abiding by this care plan. And they're omitting it in the written statement, which thus strengthens Abigail's potential lawsuit.
And I assume ballistics have been done and that they realized that it's the gun that belongs to the parent. So obviously the gun wasn't secured. And further, even knowing that it's the first week that this child is without a parent at school, when that was part of the plan, their failure to act just shocks the conscience. I can't imagine. And her lawyer did say something, and it's kind of an Easter egg for those of us that are lawyers, that they had served the school board with notice. And that is a sovereign immunity issue, which comes from the old, we borrowed most of our legal system from England to be able to sue the government because it is a public school. So in most cases, in my state, it's 180 days. You have to give them notice so that they can try to work it out. I hope the school board throws a bunch of money at it and makes it go away, because I just can't imagine that a jury doesn't give them some kind of outlandish reward.
Exactly. That woman nailed it, guys. That woman is a criminal defense attorney, and she's also a prosecutor as well. So she's a fellow attorney. And girl, she was confirming what I was saying, that first of all, they weren't even following the care plan as it is. There was just so many layers of just disregard, to the point where if the government doesn't settle this case, a jury is more than likely to favor Abigail and give her a very outlandish amount of punitive damages. Just saying, if she's able to prove it. But that defense attorney right there, she just confirmed what I said, y'all. But let's keep going. This is good stuff. That's why I had to show y'all this, because I liked how there's other attorneys on here like myself analyzing this case. You get a different aspect and analysis of the case.
District will do the right thing, and everyone should pay.
Give them some kind of outlandish reward.
I hope the Newport News School District will do the right thing, and everyone should pay close attention to their response, because will they send a message that
recordings just got better?
Everyone should pay close attention to their response. Because will they send a message that teachers are expendable? That this is just a hazard of the job if you teach Newport News? Their response will hover over this community and this school district for decades.
So you think that
Right, y'all. That's Abigail's attorney. Abigail's attorney is not playing, y'all. She laying it out thick. She's saying, I want all of you guys to look at how the administrator, the superiors involved react to this. Let's look at their response. Do they really care about these teachers and their concerns and the safety of their students? Or are they just going to just ignore it and try to just bury it under the rug? But one thing you can see is they obviously care, because they already have this emergency hearing where they immediately, okay, and I didn't even say the right word, but I just made it my own little slang, immediately. Okay, I mean, it's even faster than immediately. They immediately, y'all, fired that superintendent without cause. That means they didn't have to have a reason. They took him out because he just had too many failures of just disregarding and ignoring the parents, the multiple staff members. What is the point of him being here if he's not going to ensure the safety of the students and of the freaking teachers who are serving our beautiful children? Come on now.
When the first incident of the day happened at around 11:15 to 11:30 a.m., Abby went to a school administrator, as was protocol, to tell them that the 6-year-old had threatened to beat up another child that same day.
Wow, guys, this was building up. The very same day that this little menace to society over here shot Abigail, Abigail went to the school administrator to talk about another incident that this kid did, that he threatened to beat up another student. Because I've seen some people talk about, oh, then Abigail must have been mean to the kid. That's why he shot her. No, this kid was a menace to everybody around him. He was beating up the kids on the campus. He threatened to shoot another kid. It's something in that family that taught this poor little kid to be the way he is. And I don't blame the little kid. I blame his parents, because I feel like there's something in that household that taught this little kid to respond violently to the people around him. I understand they're saying he has an acute disability, guys, but I honestly think that the parents have a significant amount of influence for why this kid reacts in a violent, threatening way. He sees it at home. He's constantly probably getting beat when he doesn't behave himself. He sees that his parents probably respond in violence when they don't like something. And so that's what he's emulating, because it seems like he's not just taking his aggression out on Abigail, he's taking it out on other kids. So the first warning, Abigail, that same day before she's shot, she goes to her school administrator following the procedures at the school to say that he threatened to beat up another kid. You know what they did? They ignored her.
But the school administration could not be bothered. They didn't call security. They didn't remove the student from the classroom. The school administration failed to act. Later on, around 12:30 p.m., when another teacher went to a school administrator, as was protocol, and told the administrator that she, the teacher, took it upon herself to search the book bag of the boy that was suspected to have brought the gun to school. The teacher then tells that same administrator that she believes the boy put the gun in his pocket before going outside for recess. But the administration could not be bothered. The administrator downplayed the report from the teacher and the possibility of a gun, saying, and I quote, "Well, he has little pockets."
Failure number 2, guys. And this is an entirely different teacher than Abigail. A whole different teacher goes to the administrator. I can see if maybe the administrator thought, okay, maybe it's just Abigail. They probably have an issue with Abigail. No, you have a different teacher coming and saying that she went and took it upon herself to search that little boy's backpack. He took that gun out of his backpack. He knew that was going on, and he brought it on the playground to threaten other kids with it. And when she tried to ask the search if they're going to downplay it and be like, oh yeah, don't worry about it. They didn't get any type of response. Because again, I think they downplayed it. I think that's their defense. Their defense is going to be, oh, he was just a little 6-year-old kid, never in a million years, just as shocked as we are. The entire country shocked that a 6-year-old kid would get a hold of a gun, know how to use it, know how to pull the trigger, know how to possibly, I don't even know if he loaded it or if it was already loaded. They're going to say, we wouldn't have thought in a million years that this kid would have did it. But the problem is that's a very weak defense, because you've got multiple separate independent teachers reporting, kids reporting it. You got 2 different staff members reporting it. At some point, the administration has to face reality that they failed on a grandiose scale, because they disregarded warning after warning after warning and just continued to show their disregard for the safety of not only the teachers, but of the parents, which in my opinion, I feel there should be multiple lawsuits in this case, not even just Abigail. I feel that this emotionally affected and impaired the kids, and probably for the rest of their life, they're going to have PTSD and they need counseling. These little kids that are traumatized by what happened, the kids were in the classroom that saw Abigail get shot, the teachers who were involved. There was a lot of people emotionally damaged by this case that are going to leave them with emotional scars that are going to be hard, if ever going to be, some of these going to be impossible for them to really obliterate from their mind and their emotions and their reaction and responses to other experiences that are similar to this. So I'm like, there could be multiple lawsuits that this county or wherever it's located is going to be facing, just based upon what this lawyer is saying, is that separate independent teachers and little kids and all that were complaining about this little menace to society. And again, like I said, I feel the major culprit in this case are the 2 parents that failed this little kid, taught this kid all he knows. I think he learned it from the parents. That is my opinion. I think those parents did not teach this kid well, was in that house being violent, were encouraging this little kid to be violent, probably had him watching all this violent stuff on TV, purchasing a gun. Who knows if they were out here going to shooting ranges, teaching them, who knows? And these are all just opinions, guys. I don't know what happened in this case, but I'm formulating my own theories and opinions. I think the parents have a significant amount to do with this. And I will be happy the day that they file criminal charges against those parents, because their little lie from their attorney claiming they, had this gun in a safe place is a complete lie, because we wouldn't be here today if that gun was secured. Okay.
So if this is all true, how strong would a lawsuit be against the school and the school board?
In my opinion, and I don't practice law in Virginia, so that caveat is there, but it's incredibly strong. I mean, my jaw was open when I listened to this press conference. So if all this is true, and if they can prove all of this, which are 2 big ifs, I think it's incredibly strong. The fact is that a lot of sovereign immunity suits.
Guys, I can't help but to react to this photo. Look at these kids. Look at, not just Abigail was traumatized. Look at the letters that these kids wrote. Hope you feel better, Miss Werner. Hope you feel better, Miss Werner. I love you. These kids are also traumatized. If these are her students, which I suspect they are because they're writing these letters, they were in the room when this woman was shot. They had to see this unfold. You don't think these kids are emotionally scarred for life? Anytime they come around and see even a toy gun, they're gonna, be terrified and mortified. You got to think about all the people affected by this trauma because of the grandiose disregard from the superiors involved in this. When all they had to do was try to, I know it sounded unbelievable to think a 6-year-old would do something like this, but when you have several different staff members independent from the direct teacher telling you something, and you got kids crying and scared on the playground because they saw a firearm and he threatened to shoot another student. Yeah, he threatened to shoot another student if the kid told. The little kid was crying profusely, terrified of this kid right here. Okay? And they ignored all that. At some point, the superiors do not have any more excuses for disregarding this, y'all. There's no more excuses that they have that are valid excuses.
Have caps when you're trying to sue a government entity. So in Florida, I think it's $200,000 per person. I actually did these cases in a former life. So currently $200,000 per person, $300,000 per incident. So go back to the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas case. They actually had a claims bill passed through our state legislature in order to compensate those families, because they wouldn't be able to get the kind of money out of the school board that obviously needed to happen with 17 dead people in the school.
Another advertisement, y'all. Man.
And let's go back to what you said before, that if you were the school, throw a lot of money at this. The fact that the superintendent has been let go, the fact that they're giving notice to a potential of a lawsuit. How does this usually shake up? Like, what do you think would happen behind the scenes right now before a lawsuit is actually filed?
Right. So the notice thing, they want to make it as difficult as possible to sue the government. There's a lot of notice requirements. Being a dork, I went and looked back at the legislative purpose behind the sovereign immunity. In this case, it seems like there are facts that are present here to where they probably need to concede, in my opinion. I don't know. I assume they're going to have a defense. Everyone has a defense. I wonder what facts could be out there that would overcome what this lawyer seems to be alleging.
The only thing that I can guess is maybe.
Exactly. In my opinion, the government just needs to try to figure out how to right this wrong, because I see a lot of lawsuits coming, not just Abigail. They'll be lucky if it's just Abigail, because we got kids involved who are emotionally traumatized. We got other teachers who are emotionally traumatized. They better try to figure something out. They're trying to right it by letting go of this superintendent, but they got a lot more to do to fix this tragedy.
Tells administrators of another boy who is crying and fearful. Shortly after 1 p.m., when a third teacher tells administrators of another boy who is crying and fearful, that he bravely confesses to his teacher that the perpetrator showed him the gun at recess and threatened to shoot him if he told anybody. What did administrators do? Did administrators call the police? No. Did administrators lock down the school? No. Did the administrators evacuate the building? No. Did they confront the student? No. When a fourth employee
Wow, guys, are you hearing this all build up? This was all on one day. So the third teacher goes to the administrator, tells her about her student that's crying profusely, is terrified of this little menace to society over here. That's his nickname now. That's what we're just going to refer to his little bug as. Now, again, I'm not blaming him too much. I'm more so looking at the parents. The parents are responsible, but I'm still naming him menace to society because that's kind of how he was acting. Thanks to his neglectful parents, in my opinion. But he had this little kid crying. And the third teacher goes and talks to the administrator, y'all, and talks about this kid being scared and being threatened by little menace to society over here, that he was going to shoot that little boy if the boy told. The administrator ignores that third warning the same day before Abigail shot. Can you believe it? And now this attorney is about to talk about a fourth warning on the very same day. If these allegations are proved in a court, I don't see any other strong defense that the administrator has. It's so foreseeable after 4 different warnings from 4 different faculty on the campus, and yet they ignored each one of the warnings. It was foreseeable. They knew this was going to happen because they were warned 4 different times.
heard about the danger, asked the administrator for permission to search the boy. He was denied. He was told to wait the situation out because the school day was almost over. Let that sink in.
What do you think was?
Damn, let that sink in. I like that, attorney. Okay. She got the little drama going on. Let that sink in. Okay, let a jury hear that. The administrator's done. Completely done, y'all. Completely done. Let's hear what this defense attorney has to say about it. I like her because, y'all, she gets into the nook and cranny of it.
You have to be warned about something and not take action. That's kind of what I'm thinking here. And I have to imagine that's what a jury would think too. Yes, he has little pockets, but how many times do you need to be told from an independent source? So let's put the caveat on this. We're assuming these are all independent sources as opposed to just one student tattling on another over and over again. But it sounds like these are all independent sources, that people are going to the administration independently and saying, we have a problem here, and they didn't do anything. It shocks the conscience.
Right. That's what to me makes this case so strong, because it wasn't like it was just Abigail over here being a strict teacher and everybody's trying to blame her. No, there were 4 separate independent sources that went to the administrator. That's what makes this case so strong in the court of law, and especially evidentiary wise, because there's separate witnesses involved. Faculty. That 4th teacher was a male teacher who was there, who saw this and tried to ask the administrator if he could just search the little boy's person. Don't you think about it, if the administrator would have just gave that teacher permission to search that little boy's pockets, we wouldn't even be here today. We would have never even heard about this case. But you know what they did? They said, no, just wait it out. The school is, the day is almost over. Seriously? And now look where we are today. Now Abigail has a bullet lodged in her chest indefinitely for the rest of her life. She will never be the same. This is messed up. And she's still recovering at home. We don't know what the long-term effects will be to this woman, because they could repeatedly ignored 4 separate independent sources of providing the same information for 3 different traumatic experiences with this little menace to society, thanks to his parents, who weren't really a good influence on this poor kid's life, allegedly. I really don't think this kid just learned this out of the thin air. I don't think this kid was born being a menace to society. I think he was raised that way by his parents, in my humble opinion, y'all.
And now the school had been closed, but it seems that it's going to reopen with metal detectors. What do you make of that, considering, again, the age that we're talking about?
That's crazy, guys, that we got to this point that this school is now going to open with metal detectors. This little menace to society changed the whole way this school operates. Now there's going to be metal detectors at that school going forward. Every little child will have to be searched before they get into the school. Now, yes, it's going to make the school safer. I get that part. But the part that's disturbing about it is, think about how the kids will feel that they're going to be searched and their items going to be pulled out and all this stuff. Don't you think that's a little bit traumatic and embarrassing for a little kid to feel violated, to have all their items taken out of their backpack and their pockets searched? That could be traumatic for a little kid that's still developing and trying to figure out life. But again, I agree with the new change, but I'm saying this all is happening because the school did not heed to the several warnings. Now, the whole school safety procedure has been modified with metal detectors. What do you guys think about that? What is your opinion about this little elementary school having metal detectors now going forward? Do you think they're taking an extreme approach, or do you agree with it? What is your opinion? Okay. I don't want to hear what she got to say about it, because it's not really relevant. I just want to see if the attorney said anything else. Okay, it doesn't look like the attorney for Abigail had anything else to say further about the tragedy, y'all. So that's the update in the case. The good news is that Abigail Swarner will be getting justice, eventually. I'm proud of her for taking the step to sue the school district. Okay. Thank you, Lord. That's the best update I can hear today. Let's see what you guys have to say. Percy says, where have you born beautiful? I miss your beautiful mind and intelligent breakdown. Percy, where have you been? That's the question. I be here every day. Where have you been? Everybody else know I'm here every single day. I do at least one video a day. So you got to come join the lives. You got to join the lives. Crystal says, excuse from the parents. Okay, girl. Crystal, I love you, Crystal. There's my Southern Louisiana queen in here. That's the Louisiana queen. She is so right, Crystal. You are. The parents just coming up with these fake, unsupported excuses. God bless you too, Chi-Chi. I love you so much. Yeah, God bless her. It's so sad she has a bullet lodged into her for life, y'all. That is a hot mess. Okay. Chi-Chi says she hopes she gets a good amount. That's a lot of trauma to be shot. Exactly. It sure is. It is a serious trauma, but not all the money in the world will ever be able to make up for the emotional damage it has put on this woman for life. Just such a good heart. That post that I read about from her is just how she speaks about equality. She understands the racial disparities that happen in our country, even though she's not of that minority group. She still acknowledges and has a heart of empathy for other people's struggles and inequities, and I find that very admirable about Abigail. I just feel she's an exceptional woman with great character. And I just wish the best for her. I just wish she didn't have to be in this situation. It's sad that she was constantly ignored. And now, it took her being shot and almost die for people to care and for the administrators to care. And that's just completely unacceptable. This case really just gets me in my skin or out of my skin, whatever it is. It just irritates me. Okay. Oh, thank you, Percy. Percy said he's going to be tuning in more. Okay. I look forward to it. I need to see you in here because I'm in here every day. Every single day I'm here. Sometimes I take a break here and there, but I'm mostly here every day because I always have something to talk about, y'all. Y'all know I talk too much. All right. I love you guys. Have a wonderful Friday. Take care.